So welcome back to yet another adventure with Exotic Encounters. I'm Miss Alexandra, and I'm here with my friend Fonzarelli. Fonzarelli is a very cool lizard because he is called a blue-tongued skink. Do you see him sticking out his tongue? Do you see that it's blue? So Fonzarelli is a pretty cool lizard. You know, I think they're cool, but you definitely don't want to be a brother or a sister to this lizard. You certainly don't want to be their neighbor because they are so naughty, naughty, naughty. So when they're born, they're basically left to fend for themselves. Nobody stays. Their parents don't stay to protect them. Their parents don't stay to feed them. So they have to find food. Well, when I found Fonzarelli as a baby, he had just bitten off 2 of his sister's toes. Can you believe that? I've gotten into fights with my brothers and sisters before, but I have never bitten off their toes. Have you? I hope not. Well, Fonzarelli actually has a scar on the side of his face over here from his sister because she did fight back. Now, I love these lizards. I think they're really cool to play with and to hold and to touch, but you definitely don't want to be a neighbor to this lizard. These guys tend to live underground, and when they get hungry, they go looking for food because, they can't whip out a cell phone and just call Domino's and have a pizza delivered. That'd be pretty cool if you could. Hello, my sweet boy. So what they do is they stick out their tongues just like a snake does to look for food. Their tongues actually tell them, they use their tongues like for smelling. They do have a nose and they use that for breathing, but just like the snake does, they stick out their tongue, the air, and there's little sensors on the tip of the tongue that sends messages all the way to their brains to tell them what they're smelling. And when he finds food, it's normally in somebody's house. Now, do you think he's a good neighbor and he knocks politely on the door and brings a coffee cake? Oh, no, no, no. This naughty boy invites himself in without ever even knocking on the front door. And then he goes down into the hole to see who's there. Now, sometimes he might be too big for the hole, and that's where he will use his very sharp claws. Now, they do not have long legs, as you can see, kind of like the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Big, scary dinosaur, teeny little arms, but very sharp nails on those arms. So what he'll do is he will dig and dig, especially if he's really hungry, and he will go and eat the owner of the house. It could be mice, might be a snake, and he'll eat them and he'll steal their house and stay in their house till he gets hungry again. Now, he's pretty awesome looking. I want to bring him up close for you. Look at that. He's got big, orange, beautiful eyes, and I love that tongue when he eats. Now, what do you think he eats besides, let's say, lizards or mice? He does eat meat, obviously, because he needs to. He needs his protein. But he's just like you and me, you guys. I bet you guys eat chicken nuggets. If you eat chicken nuggets, raise your hands. I do. Raise your hands if you like to eat delicious, yummy, juicy watermelon. Oh, yeah. Raise your hands if you like to eat corn on the cob. I do, especially in the summer. It's so good with butter on top. Now, if you really like this last one, I give you permission. Raise both hands, jump up and down and say, bacon! I love bacon. Well, Fonzarelli is just like us. He eats his fruits, his vegetables, and his meat. I give him some canned cat food, so it's wet food, has lots of good protein. I give him vegetables every day, and I give him fruit. His favorite fruits seem to be cantaloupe. He really, really likes cantaloupe. Isn't he just so cool? But now he's kind of more of a forest-dwelling animal, or like rainforest. So we're going to put him down, and I'm going to get somebody that comes from the desert. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. So this is my little desert friend. This is Cleo, and she is a leopard gecko, you guys. Do you want to know how they got that name, the leopard gecko? They are covered with spots just like leopards are. Look at that. And she's got those cool looking cat eyes. These guys make awesome pets, and there's so many different color variations now. Now, Miss Cleo here, she's the normal kind of leopard gecko. You know, she's the norm, but I will show you her sister in a minute. Now, leopard geckos, I think, are probably one of the smartest animals out there. There's a lot of cool, smart animals out there, but I think she's the smartest one. You know, reptiles will shed their skin as they grow, and the interesting thing is no one's really ever found a leopard gecko skin in the wild. And I happen to own 2 leopard geckos, and I know that they shed their skins because they kind of get grayish in color right before they're going to shed, but I've never found the skin in the cage. It's amazing. So what do they do with it? Let's think about it. So I'm going to tell you, you guys know the story of Hansel and Gretel? And if you don't, that's okay. Hansel and Gretel were brother and sister, and they wanted to go play in the woods, but they were afraid that they might get lost. So they took a loaf of bread with them, and they left a trail of breadcrumbs everywhere they went. That way they can follow the breadcrumbs out. That's very, very smart, right? Now, leopard geckos, I guess they thought the same thing, is if we leave a trail of our old skin behind, couldn't something like a fennec fox that lives in the desert smell that skin, pick up on their scent, and track them down? Well, the leopard gecko doesn't want the fox to find them, do they? Of course not. So what do they do with the skin? So I thought about it. I'm like, well, maybe they bury it. Or maybe to hide the scent of the skin, they pee on it. But every time I cleaned the cage, I never found any skin buried anywhere. And one night, I happened to come upstairs because I had to check on something. And there she was, shedding off her skin, and she eats that dead skin. That's so smart. Now, leopard geckos, I don't know if you guys have ever played with those little green lizards, the little American chameleons, the little anole lizards outside. They're little green lizards. They're very fast. When I used to try to catch them as a kid, I always somehow grabbed the tail, and the tails always popped right off. Well, check out her tail. She kind of has a chunky tail. Look at all that chunkiness right there. So you know what that is, you guys? That's stored food, keeping nutrients stored in that chunkiness of her tail. Now, she doesn't know that she's a pet. She thinks she's in the wild. So every time I throw crickets in the cage, she eats them all up, whether she's hungry or not. And her body will store food in the tail. Now, leopard geckos, just like that chameleon outside, those little American chameleons, they can pop their tails off, which they only do in case of severe emergencies, because it takes a long, long time for that tail to grow back. Now, if it's her first tail, it's going to be bumpy, just like Cleo's is, nice and bumpy. That's the tail she was born with. But if it's not her first tail, it will feel very, very smooth. So Cleo has never had to lose her tail before. She's never had to pop it off. So yeah, that's pretty awesome that she still has her very first tail. And guess how old she is? She's 5 years old now. She's a big girl. Now, Cleo does have a sister. Now, do any of you guys, raise your hands if you have brothers or sisters in my audience today. Now, I happen to have both. I have an older sister and a younger brother. And although we do have some similarities, like my sister and I both have brown hair and brown eyes, my brother and I both have freckles, we don't look exactly alike. Now, wait till you see Cleo's sister, Pinky. Let me go get her. Hold on one second. Don't move. Here she comes. Dum, da, da, dum. Look at Cleo's sister, Pinky. They are siblings, but they look so different, right? Pinky is yellow and pink, no black spots at all. Now, unfortunately for Pinky, that would be bad to have this kind of coloring if she did live in the wild, because she would be very easy to spot at night, because she would probably glow. She wouldn't blend in with the darkness outside. When you guys go outside at night, or if mom and dad take a dog for a walk at night, they usually put something on that's bright in color, so that way cars can see them. This little girl probably wouldn't survive in the wild because of her colors. Look, aren't they cute though? And these guys love to eat bugs. frogs. Oh, they love to eat crickets. And it's actually a lot of fun when I watch them hunting because they kind of wag their tails just like a cat does. Very, very cool to watch. So here's my little desert friend. This is Mr. Magoo. Isn't he cute? He looks like a little old man. My children think I should have named him Toothless from the movie about the dragons, How to Train Your Dragon. So he is a Uromastyx lizard. They're really cool little lizards because of a couple things. One, I like them because they look like little grumpy old men. There's his cute little face. See, he's got little wrinkles. But they come in different colors. So he's yellow. Check out that yellow. And then there's like a reddish orange one. And I'm thinking of getting my cranky little Mr. Magoo a girlfriend this summer. So I might get a red one. Now, what's cool about these guys is if you think about dinosaurs, I love dinosaurs, okay? There were lots of dinosaurs that had spiky tails and spiky backs. Magoo has a very spiky tail, and he does use that tail like a weapon. Have you guys ever swung a baseball bat? Yeah, I have. Well, Magoo, if anything comes near him that he doesn't want near him, like a fox, a fennec fox that lives in the desert, he will swing that tail really hard. And trust me, these spikes do hurt. Now, the other thing that I love about Mr. Magoo here is his tummy. Now, raise your hands if you guys like to eat pancakes. There might be some waffle lovers out there, I get it. But if you like pancakes, raise your hands up high because his belly is squishy, just like a pancake. Now, Mr. Magoo is different than Fonzarelli, the Blue-Tongued Skink. Mr. Magoo does not eat meat. He eats only fruits and vegetables, more vegetables than fruit. So we do give him vitamins once a week, little powdered vitamins. It almost looks like putting salt on your food. It's a little powder. And that way he gets a little bit more vitamins in his diet. But he loves to eat. Check out his belly. He's really chunky too. He's a big growing boy. Look at that. Such a cute boy. So yes, he will also bury himself in the sand to make himself look invisible to predators. How cool would that be? Have you ever buried anybody in the sand at the beach? I once buried my husband in the sand, and I had to put the umbrella over his head so he wouldn't get sunburned. So much fun. So Magoo will bury himself in the sand as well. So I'm going to put Magoo back because Magoo wants to go have his breakfast. And I will see you guys next time for another exotic encounter adventure. Bye, guys.